those quadrants. The four main quadrants of the abdomen, the RUQ, LUQ, RLQ, LLQ, which stands for right upper quadrant, left upper quadrant, right lower quadrant, and left lower quadrant. What do you think I want you to know about this? The same exact thing. What abdominal organs, fall in which of the four coordinates? We also have the 9 what? What was the other thing we talked about?
Regions.
But do we need to know the anatomy of those?
No.
We do not. We just need to know that there are 9 regions as well. So 4 major quadrants of the abdomen. Make sure you know where those intestines fall, the stomach, the gallbladder, and the liver specifically. When we get to urinary, 3 semesters from now, we'll talk more about the urinary system and reproductive systems and how they fall in the quadrants. But for now, we're focused on digestion, and that's going to be our liver, gallbladder, stomach, and intestines. And when I say intestines, that does include the small and large intestines together. Now, there are various parts of those intestines we're going to label because we can't actually see most of those on our KUB radiographs, depending if the patient has air in their colon, air in their intestines, or contrast. When we do contrast fluoroscopy studies, we're having them swallow barium. We follow the path of digestion, and what kind of x-ray do you think we do? We do a lot of what's called KUBs, that's abdominal x-rays, to check that contrast and how it's being digested throughout the body. But even if we're not doing that, we can usually see air in those areas as well. In fact, one thing you'll find when it comes to abdominal x-rays, most of your people coming in the hospital complaining of pain in their belly, because they just need to pass gas or go to the bathroom. You'll see air and you'll see feces sometimes lodged in the intestines, and they just might be very constipated, or they just need to get that air out. Very common issue. Now, my previous classes, we always joked, and if you ask the seniors, they can tell you what a UBF is. We talk about UBFs a lot in radiology, especially for abdominal x-rays. You might know what a UBF is? You ever heard of a UBF? It's a very scientific term. It's an unborn fart. Very childish, but I had to throw that joke out there. But now you'll never forget it. So you tell your parents that you learned about UBFs today. Tell your family you learned about UBFs. We'll see lots of UBFs on KUB x-rays. And there's some UBFs right there, matter of fact. Look at all that air in that intestinal area. So why are these quadrants important? We actually can divide up our x-rays as such, just like the diagram we just looked at. And we can say, well, part of the large intestine's here, part of the large intestine's here. Large intestine covers all 4 quadrants. Stomach's typically in this area here. Gallbladder, liver, we're not going to see on x-rays unless we're doing a specific fluoroscopy study. But the main things that we're focused on are those intestines in this chapter. As we're going to break down the intestines more specifically and come back to stomach and the other organs whenever we go back to that in Rad Pro 4. So 3 portions of the small intestine we're going to review today, and we're going to review all the portions of the large intestine as well and break down that anatomy specifically, because depending on how much air we can see in the intestines, in the stomach area, we can actually label those specific parts on a radiograph. So let's start with this right here. This is actually something we can see on our x-rays. A major portion of the abdomen. This is what holds your body upright. It connects the upper body to the lower body. Now, that's not called the psoas muscles. I hear people say that every year and it drives me nuts. It's not psoas, it's psoas. The P is silent. Psoas muscles. Their main function is to connect the upper body to the lower body, specifically the upper body portion at the diaphragm to the lower portion connecting at the femurs, like you see in the diagram right there. So the upper psoas muscles connect to our diaphragm, the lower connect to our femurs, specifically what we call the lesser trochanters there on the femurs. That connects the upper body to the lower body. We can actually see these on our x-rays. They look like little streaks on the stomach. I'll show you what we're talking about as we move forward. Also going to show you all some cool stuff later. Aside from the gas and feces, one of the most common things we see on abdominal radiographs is foreign bodies, because people swallow stuff and they insert stuff a lot. The other way, you can use your